everyone. I'm so happy to see each and every one of you from all over Africa. Really amazing that you came at this time of the evening. I'm so happy to see each and every one of you. And I'm really excited that we get to share our stories, our experiences, and learn from each other here. Just type on the chat if you're an entrepreneur, or if you want to start an entrepreneurship and what you would love to learn from this session. And we hope that we'll be able to satisfy that. My name is Esther Neema. I call myself entrepreneur queen. You in the entrepreneurship world, you can give yourself any name. And I thought that would be a name that I'd love to use. And I'm happy to have our very able panelists here with me, whom we are going to demystify entrepreneurship. I know for those who are already entrepreneurs, this will just be a moment to reminisce and say, yes, that's my experience. And for those who are just wanting to start entrepreneurship, maybe this could be a session that gives you the aha moment or gives you the push. Or maybe for some, this may actually be a warning and you're thinking, maybe entrepreneurship is not for me. But I do hope that we'll be able to satisfy your questions. Feel free to write your questions right on the chat, even as we go along. And I'm really sure that the team and the panelists is going to do a good job to answer. So yes, I said my name is Esther Neema, and I'm happy to take you through this session. I am one of the alumni in residence who has been sharing their entrepreneurship journey and entrepreneurship stories. And so this live event is sort of like a good climax for now to engage with a lot of you whom we've already been engaging on the platform. So before I talk for so long, I'm going to invite my panelists. Two of my panelists are Santa Mukhabana, who has had more than 10 years experience, to be specific, 13 years in entrepreneurship or maybe more. And also Sam Asena, who is also 15 years in entrepreneurship. So we do have a great panel of entrepreneurs who've really, in my country, we say chumayareli. They're like the metal on the train. They've had quite some experience. So I'll leave them to introduce themselves even as we start this session. So I'll start with you, Santa, and then we can go to Samuel.
Okay, thanks, Esther. So I guess I'll just start quickly. My name is Santa Mukhabana, and I'm a video producer by profession. Video producer meaning you take concepts. They can be TV concepts or documentaries or corporate videos. So you take them from conceptualization to budgeting to getting the crew, getting the talent, eventually taking it to post-production, and eventually, taking it to a distributor or putting it on a platform like YouTube or something of the sort. So I've been doing that since 2011. That's when I established my business, though I did start working in 2007. I started out as a communications officer. Then I slowly maneuvered my way into production, became a videographer and a video editor. And yeah, so that's how it's been going so far.
That's how you've done your 15 years, your 13 years, yeah. Samuel, to you to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. It's a wonderful evening for us to gather here and have this opportunity to just share and to learn from one another. I don't look at us as being the people who will teach, but I look at this as an interactive session where we all can share our experiences. We all can talk about what the journey has been. I've actually just been thinking this evening, and I realized that the first time I tried out this entrepreneurship thing was actually about 19 years ago.
Wow, so it's not just 15 years, it's actually 19 years ago. And we can't wait to hear all about it.
Okay, Yeah, I just realized that when I was coming straight from high school, I didn't go sit at home. There was one or two things that I tried to do here and there. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight. So I'm an author. I will be sharing a cover of my book and where you can get it maybe later. Um, I'm a financial advisor. I work with different financial institutions to just help people come up with solutions befitting what they are looking for. And I also run Optimize Institute. Optimize Institute can be summarized in 3 words: discover, develop, and deploy who you are and what you have. We'll talk more about that as we continue. Thank you very much, Esther.
Really awesome. Thank you very much, Sam. So Tribe, you see, we actually have people who've had significant experience. And of course, there's a lot to learn because I'm sure some of you are already having significant experience and we can learn from each other. So if you have that aha moment, feel free to chat it, to put it on the chat. If you have a question, feel free to also type it on the chat. And if you want to also comment on the conversation, we'll be happy to also let you join us. So guys, with your years of experience and what you have been doing, this is a question I love to ask everyone. Knowing what you know now, Santa, would you still do it all over again? Like the time, I don't know how old you were starting your business, but would you actually do it again if you had the opportunity to actually do it?
Personally, I would do it again because it's my personality. I've always felt like I want to try new things, and I feel inspired by adversity, and just, you know, when someone tells me you can't do something, then I want to do it. So my personality, I don't think it would fit in a corporate setup, because in a corporate setup, everything is designed and you're supposed to do it in a particular sort of way.
I'm even hearing to pass there.
Okay, there's someone whose mic is on. So yeah, I think if given the chance, I'd definitely still do it the way I've done it, for sure.
Okay, so you would actually do it again. You have no any bits of regret. And for you, Sam, if you are 19, would you actually still consider to do business or entrepreneurship? Is that something that you'd still do?
10 times over.
Yeah, and why is that?
Reason being, I think I find it difficult fitting in a box. And entrepreneurship enables me and allows me to venture into places and things. One interesting thing I can tell you about me and my extended family is that there are so many people in the teaching profession. It would be so natural for me to flow in that direction, but the feeling right from the onset for me has always been, I think I want more than what is the norm for everyone. And entrepreneurship is that space where you test things out, you try out, this doesn't work, you try out something else. For me, there's a lot of thrill and joy in all of that. So that's the reason why I would do it 10 times over without thinking, without blinking.
All right. I'm happy to know that you do not have regrets on your entrepreneurship journey. And just so that the tribe, like the members and the participants who've joined us today, understand why we're doing this, is just to demystify the entire entrepreneurship journey. And so I'm going to give the both of you 5 minutes each to just tell us about how you started, why you started, and what was the experience of the people around you when you started your business. So maybe 5 minutes before now we delve into now the deeper conversation. So I'll take it back to you, Santa, as you tell us why and how you started. Did you start because you didn't get a job? Did you leave your work? Or what really is your story? We can't wait to hear about it. Okay.
At first, when I started out as a communications officer. So when I was doing that, I wasn't happy because in university, I'd always wanted to do something in production. I didn't know what yet. I just knew that I wanted to do something in production. And then video editing came sort of like naturally because that's the stuff that you end up doing as a communications officer. And then I thought to myself, this place that I'm at is not going to allow me to get into production. So I need to exit and go somewhere else. So I left there, went to work for 2 other people. Luckily, one of the people that I was working for was very open. He's my mentor. And he just gave me tips and directions on how the video production business kind of looks like. And so he slowly just planted a seed inside my head. He'd be like, come and let's look at these budgets. You need to go down to this and this place if you want to get DVD cases and all that. Like, he didn't hide anything. So it didn't feel like it was something that was out of my scope or something that I couldn't achieve. So when I decided that I wanted to do that, I thought to myself, I think I need a master's degree, at least, to know what it is that I'm going to do next. So I went to school, and that was around the time when I was now starting my thing and going to school at the same time. Was it easy? No, because I think our parents, boomers, unquote, have always have this structure of how life is supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to go to school, finish school, get a job, get married, and like it's a line, and you can't get out of the line. So I got a lot of opposition because the thing was, how are you going to have security? How are you going to, take care of yourself? Which are legitimate concerns. But I think there's some people who this journey is built for them. Like, you just wake up and you decide, you know what, I think I want to try my own thing. So unfortunately for my parents, I fell into that area.
You were the one. Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, it was a nudge inside of you that was making you want to be an entrepreneur, and that's what actually pushed you into it. So it wasn't that because they always talk about entrepreneurs, they are in different categories. Those who, by the inevitable circumstances, opportunity was not available, and so you have to, which I think is the case for a lot of young people today. And the ones who actually were working and they're like, yo, see you tomorrow, I need to go. So Samuel, I'm so curious to also know your journey, because you're like a serial entrepreneur and stuff. I'm so curious to know why and how, and what was your experience? Were people celebrating you on your end, or did they just say Samuel is lost?
Like I said, the first time I tried my hand at entrepreneurship, this was actually under with the support of my grandmother. Come to think of it, I grew up under the care of my grandmother because my parents unfortunately passed on when I was still very young. And so here I am, I'm done with the 4th form. And it's not like nowadays where people finish in November and by February or March they are already in college. For us, we needed a year and a half. I spent a year and a half before it was time for us to join college. So part of my, that's where I would say I started cutting my teeth on this thing of entrepreneurship. So I ran a retail operation for about a year. At some point, things were not going very well, so I closed down the shop and went to sell milk. I actually sold milk, raw milk, for a couple of months. And this time now it was getting close to time for me to go to college. So by the time I was going to college, a lot of the things that I needed to put in place were already taken care of because I had made some little money to take care of a few of those things. So I go into college, and of course, there is a lot to do within the confines of college. I didn't get to do much in terms of entrepreneurship while I was in college. I think that's the point at which I also switched into thinking investment beyond just entrepreneurship. I became the proud owner of the Safaricom IPO. You know, that's the first time I interacted with the stock exchange. I bought the Safaricom IPO. And to say this to someone who's listening to us right now is that when I sold my shares some 12, 13, 14 years later, I think I made over, if I look at it critically, I think I made over 900% profit.
Wow.
From what we
amazing,
bought it at.
but
that's not,
yeah.
Yeah, that's not entrepreneurship. That's the investment angle. So going back to my entrepreneurial story, so I get done with college and I'm looking for opportunities here and there. I end up landing a couple of gigs here and there, but nothing really exciting enough to hold my attention. I graduated with a degree in hospitality management, but I can tell you I only managed in a formal setting for 1 year.
You only did 1 year of what you studied.
Yes, 1 year of what I studied. Okay, I've used what I studied to do some of my business. You know, if I talk about everything I've done, I've run a catering business for some time. I've done a bit of tours and events in my time. I've also, but the thing that I've really concentrated on, or the things that I've really worked on much more seriously, is now Optimize Institute. So for me, it's been a journey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a journey of trying many different things. But I believe with Optimize Institute, beyond it being a mission for me, I look at it, you know, it's the place where I know I can spend the rest of my life. Anything I do going forward will just be branching out from what I do at Optimize
and
Institute.
You'll tell us more about Optimize, and I think many of us are young and we want to be optimized to reach our fullest potential. So I think this will be really, really good. I'm just seeing a question here from Esther Aqua, because she's seeing you guys, you branched out maybe from the job market and you started your businesses. She's asking, please, the instances where you do not have personal money for personal expense and you have the habit of using your business for personal expenses, is there a way to control it? I think that's a question we shall answer later, so just note that. But I think I'm curious to know, how did you get your capital to start? Especially because I am hearing both of you were in your 20s. And as we have this conversation, all of us, we know that the greatest challenge for a lot of young entrepreneurs is actually having access to capital. How did you, Santa, get your money bag to start your journey?
I think I've talked about this before. I didn't get capital. I was bought for equipment. I was bought for an iMac in 2011. So I was told this is the investment and you need to figure out how you're gonna make money from it. At that time, it was expensive, because I think it must have been like 130,000. And so it was up to me to figure out how I was gonna, leverage my networks and see who it is that I could get the work from. So I basically went, pitched myself, got my first job, and then that job now became what I put into the business as capital. So it wasn't me eating the money, because when you look at how the corporate world is structured, there's very little money that you're saving for you to decide that you want to start a business with. So, because between transport, food, and just trying to exist, there's really very little money that you're having on the side. So that's what I did. I went and then I begged. I said, yes, I can do this thing. Buy me this computer. And then that's how we started.
Okay. And how did you get your first client?
I got my first client. Actually, it was a big job when I come to think about it. It was the Nile Basin Forum, which was for a number of countries that were meeting in Kenya. And it was just from talking to a couple of people, because from where I used to work at, we used to have guests for business, guys who would come in and then talk about the businesses and how they're working. And it was a business show. So I made sure that I had talked to everyone and, just getting to know guys. And then I tell them, I can do this thing for you. So, take a bet on me and then we see. So someone took a bet on me and was like, let's try it out and see how it looks like. So that was technically my first job. It was actually a big job. I can't say that it was a small job, but also I think positioning is what got me there. Yeah.
For your case, your first gig or the first work that you do was based on your positioning. And I also, you actually did mention that your boss was such a significant contribution to you becoming a serious business person. I don't know if you have something to share on the role of mentorship in that space, and then we shall usher in someone to share his part on how he got his capital. Yeah.
I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for his mentorship, because he didn't get to keep the information. The balance with a lot of industries in Africa, let me not talk just Kenya, in Africa, is people are scared. So everyone is like a crab in a barrel trying to pull every other person down. But he was very, very open with the information. And then after giving me the information, he was like, I'm going to give you your job to go do by yourself. So I actually edited a short film for Miss World Kenya 2009, which won her the Beauty with a Purpose category. And that was my project, like no input from him, no conversation. He was like, take it, run with it. I've taught you all the things that you need to know. So you need to go and figure it out for yourself. And I think that really helped, because it's like a child, eventually you have to stop holding on to the table and someone needs to release you to go. And he allowed me to grow without suffocating my growth. And the balance with should I say the mentorship space, and you really have to be careful when you're looking for a mentor, is someone who wants you to grow into the person that you want to be, not into the person that they want you to be. So I think that's what worked for me. Yeah.
So he allowed you to grow. I was holding your hand, but not really like pulling you, just holding your hand, and you would just walk on your own. Okay, Samuel, how did you, and I see you've disappeared off your back. So Samuel, how did you, of course, you can also share whether you did get mentors along the way and you did get the right support that helped you, but also just to understand, because we are demystifying different experiences for different entrepreneurs. For Santa, she actually had someone who helped her access the tools that she needed to start. Was that your experience? How was it for you? Or if it was not the case, how did you get your capital?
I think because we are talking about demystifying entrepreneurship, one thing I want to demystify here is that the idea of I must have some money in place before I get started can actually keep you stuck. I am not trying to downplay the significance of having some funds to get started, and it depends on the kind of business that you are going into. But one thing I will say is, for me, I have learned to do something called making use of other people's money. So what that means is I share my idea, and I ask
people who are willing to come in and work together with me. And that is how I'm able to raise whatever funding I need. But I also try to keep my initial injection, or my initial need for injection of capital low until there is a good proof of concept. Some of the reasons why I dropped catering and the events thing for a while. I haven't dropped them completely because I see a future for them integrating with everything that I'm doing right now. Is that when you're trying to roll out something and it's not flowing the way you're supposed to, the way it's supposed to flow, you don't want to continue pouring a lot of money into it until and unless you're very clear. If you're still at the point of proof of concept and you feel like this thing is not flowing in the direction it should go, then it's time for you to go back to the drawing board and rethink and ask yourself, is this really what I want to do? So one thing is I have tried to keep my operational costs low at the start of everything that I try to do. And I've tried to leverage on other people's money. I've leveraged on other people's support. Sometimes it's about giving up value, some value of some sort. Value does not necessarily have to be monetary. It's about giving up value to someone and being able to call in a favor, being able to call in support of some kind, and you're able to take care of the things that you need to do as you go along. So that's what I'm saying. It's not about how much money in the bank, how much you have saved for you to get started. There comes a time when there's a need for a lot of money to be pumped into the business, but the beginning have to be like that.
You're right, actually, Sam. I think because not everyone has maybe Santa, you'll admit that maybe just having like such high capital for a young person may not always be, it may be a stretch for a lot of people. And so this approach that Sam is talking about sometimes is you may not have the money, but you have the social capital. You have people, you have networks, you have friends, you have family, you have colleagues, you have schoolmates who serve as your initial social capital that helps you propel. And so I think even for me, that's my story, and that's how I was able to grow my community. And I know Moses on the chat was finding it funny that you kept saying I used other people's money. he finds it very funny, yeah, but it's true. Someone said there's someone who has an idea but has no money, and another person has no idea but has money. So you have to find a way to meet each other and do whatever it is that you need to do. So I really, really love that point. And for you then, what was the role of mentorship in your journey? I mean, Santa, having interacted with her, I know she's really done humongous deals because of having the mentor that she's had. Was that the case for you? Did you deliberately or intentionally look for mentors in your journey, or how did you go about it? How did you learn the ropes? Especially that you started really, really young. You just randomly started selling milk, you know, how was it for you?
I think a lot of what has built me up has been partly I'm very good at reading, and I love reading and getting lessons, you know, from other people who have done it before. I've made a lot of good use of the internet. You know, one of the things that you need to do is you need to guard your inbox jealously by ensuring that only people that are delivering value have access. This thing of clicking on every link and accepting every invitation clogs your your mailbox with a lot that doesn't really make sense. So for me, if you come look at what's on my mailbox, you'll realize that there's a lot of people that I listen to virtually. There's a lot of people whose content I interact with, and I incorporate it into everything that I do. I managed to sit through a class of, some of you know George Washuri. I managed to sit through his school of mentorship for a period of 6 months. And that was very insightful for me. And, you know, for him, I've made him a friend of mine. So even beyond that class, anytime I can actually call him, and as often as he can, he makes time and we sit down and we talk. I've listened to many other people in person. So mentorship is and has been a critical portion of what has gotten me to where I am today. I would never despise or look down on a mentor. These are people who've gone out there and done it. These are people who are not theorizing. They have been practically out there. They have suffered loss. They have been hit. So you listen to their stories and you realize, okay, so this one of mine is nothing.
Is nothing. Yeah, it's amazing actually. Like I like that you mentioned books also as a form of mentorship. And I also like the way you're saying, deliberately looking at people who've been through the same journey as you've been, and then seeking out information and learning from them and making them your personal friends. So Tribe, I think we can take the questions from the chat that guys are asking us as we go along the way. But also for all of you guys who joined us a little bit later, thank you so much for coming on board. And just to let you know, in case you're not part of Baobab, you can join us. It's a community of professionals. There are opportunities in the online platform, there are courses, and you can grow yourself as an authority. So I shall share a link here on the chat so that in case you haven't joined the community, you can actually, you're welcome and you can be part of us, right? And so, yes, so as I read, one of Moses Mukiza says, one major character trait amongst entrepreneurs is the inability to fit into the corporate world. So Santa, actually, that was your story. You just can't see how you are in that world. And so being an entrepreneur has sort of allowed you to get into your creative space. And then Esther asks, please, the instances where you do not have personal money for personal expenses and you have the habit of using your business for personal expenses. Is there a way to control it? Santa, I think you could actually answer that. How have you managed to control, like taking the money from your business, from your personal expenses?
When I think a lot of people don't realize that you're supposed to pay yourself out of your business. Like you take your money like you would a salary. So you go, you do your job, and then you say, at the end of the month, I need to make X amount of money. Your profit comes in, you look at your the things that you need to pay for, you pay yourself, you pay your other expenses, and then whatever remains stays inside the business. And for me, it's always been easier because I have a separate bank account. I don't mix the two. In fact, I go through an official process of removing money from the official bank account to my bank account, so that even in terms of dealing with an accountant, everything goes so well. When you don't really have any boundaries, that's how it becomes so much more easier for you to use money that's meant for other things on something else.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So then when you need to maybe pay people, you don't have that balance and you don't have money. So you have to find money elsewhere because you use the money to buy your personal fragrance. I think this is a normal challenge especially when you're starting out, when you're a solo entrepreneur, Esther. So if you've had such an instance, it's very possible, because I had such a challenge. I actually opened my business account for just like Santa, for that exact reason, so that I can distinguish and separate. Yeah. So in case that's a challenge for you, maybe starting the separate account would be a great way forward. Samuel, someone is asking about, thank you for sharing your experiences. They are very helpful. So do you think that a person who's extremely introverted can be an entrepreneur? And first of all, are you guys introverts or extroverts? I know I'm something called an ambivert, where you're a hybrid of both, depending on who I am with. So Samuel, you, then Santa can say whether she's an ambivert or something.
Maybe I throw this back to you. What do you think I am? Am I am I introverted or extroverted?
What do I think you are? This is a tough one. Because Santa says she's introverted, and we all know her as an extrovert. So, so I always say you are what you say you are. You are what you say you are. What are you?
I think it really depends with the crowd you're among and all that. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. You see, Tumusime here thinks I'm an introvert. Maybe he's right. Some people also think that I'm extrovert. Some people think I make a lot of noise. Some people think I'm very quiet. But it really depends on the circumstances.
On
But
who you're with, yeah.
Whether as to the question of whether an introvert can be a successful entrepreneur, the answer is a resounding yes. These are tags. These are tags that we place on ourselves. These are tags that people place on us. You are every bit as intelligent as the person who is talking to everyone and engaging and you know. So the thing is, what you need to do is, when you understand which side of the spectrum you fall on, you try to find people who can cover up for you in the areas where you're not good. So what that does for you is you focus on the aspects of the business that you're very good at. You know, introverts are very thoughtful. Like they can process, and very thoughtful, very analytical. They weigh their words before those words come out. Extroverts will speak 100 words before they think, so what was I saying?
Say it as it is. Yeah.
So you see what that does is that if you find yourself as introverted or leaning towards the introverted side of things, you want to surround yourself with some people who are on the other side of the spectrum, so that you can strengthen one another in the whole thing. Your analytical skills will be very good and very critical for making tough decisions, but the extroverted guys around you will drive you towards action and towards getting things done as quickly as possible. So it becomes a good balance. That's what I would say. So everyone can succeed, extrovert, introvert.
Extrovert, yeah. Because I also like think even Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Okay, maybe not Steve Jobs. The Facebook guy. These are people who seem introverted. Like when you look at them, you think they might be introverts, and yet they are in entrepreneurship. Yeah. And for some reason, it's actually because of that analytical skill. You look at the details that are really very important for business, and that's why your business can succeed. You see, for some of us who are maybe talkative, we're hyper, we are all over, praising and talking about our businesses, but then we may actually forget the details. And so we need someone who has details to help us in our businesses for them to be successful. Yeah. So maybe that's the only thing that can make me believe that Santa is an introvert, but let her speak for herself. Yeah.
I think I'm an ambivert. I think I'm a very strong ambivert. And it just depends on the types of people that I'm around. The people who know me personally, they'll be like, oh, Santa is an extrovert. If I don't know you, maybe sometimes I don't want to expend my energy. However, I think in terms of business, you don't get to decide, this is work, eh? You can't decide to not talk because, a closed mouth can't be fed.
Yeah.
So you have to go out there, you have to present yourself well, you have to present your product, you have to talk to people and tell them, I can deliver ABCD. So what I'd say is, if you feel like you're introverted and it's really hard for you to get ahead, there are like YouTube videos that can teach you how to do public speaking, get into things like Toastmasters and all that, so that you learn how to speak in public. Because at the end of the day, your business, you're the head of your business, and no one is going to know what your business is if you don't present it. You don't have to be hyper and running up on stage and being crazy like what's his name, the Virgin guy. However, you should be able to articulate your points and be able to inspire people to, first of all, want to work with you, want to invest with you, want to buy with you. So I wouldn't say that it's something that you can't learn. It's definitely something that you can learn.
It's something you can actually learn. Yeah.
Yes. So just take the time and build it.
I think for all of us, when we started, and this is just to encourage anyone who started before, and if you're already in business, you can actually share on the chat and just let us know what your experience is, and we can read it out. But what I know is just being in business refines you. We are not the same people we were when we started and who we are now. In fact, I remember I had to be pushed to go say hi to people because I was so afraid and so shy. Making calls to random strangers, I would be pacing up and down the room, thinking about what I will say. And today I just do it, So I think what Santa is talking about, like taking the time to learn, for me, has actually helped me become more refined, more better, and even more confident. So Moses is asking, did you have a defined BD process in place before you began, or did you build as you grow? I'm thinking BD is...
I'm assuming you mean business design process, yeah? Business development or business design?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I should start. Or do you want to start, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. He's responded in the business development.
Business development. I'll use a quote from Mike Tyson. When you have a very solid plan of how the bout is going to be like until you receive the first uppercut. I don't know whether he said uppercut or lower cut or whatever, but you can plan to the last detail, and have everything, every I dotted and every T crossed. But it is until you hit the ground and you start moving that you will know what's working and what's not working. So what I would say, yes, it's good to put some thought into how you're going to develop your business, like how you're going to generate leads and all of that. But be prepared for your plan to be thrown out of the window and to adjust to the reality of the situation when it comes to finding leads. So I would say, yes, for some of my businesses, I've had like for Optimize Institute, for me, I looked at content creation and content marketing as the way that I would go about it, and it's worked. It's worked to a great extent, but of course, it's not delivered results as quickly as I would have expected. So of course, I've had to adjust. The thing about an entrepreneur that you need to know is that resilient spirit that says never say die. That adaptable spirit that realizes quickly this thing is not working. The way that I'm thinking, it's not working. And
It's
if I
not
am
working.
going to do anything by the end of this month, I have to adjust now. So the resilience and the adaptability will help you more than any plan that you have. But
So for you, yeah.
but ensure that you plan, put some thought into how you're going to generate leads, how you're going to work on converting those leads into business. Put some thought into it, but be willing to throw that book out of the window and
Yeah.
embrace what is working, what will produce results. At the end of the day, what you're looking for are results.
I love that. I love that. So be open, like have a plan, because also like lacking to plan is planning to fail, like know how things could go, but also being open to change direction when it's actually not going that direction. Yeah. So I love that. I think I'm gonna have you, Santa, just say whether you had a business development plan earlier before you started. And then you also ask, you also answer another. Okay, just go ahead and answer that as I'll also ask you the next question that someone has asked.
Okay. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that in video production, there are certain steps, whether you like it or you don't like it. Even if I went and I decided that I wanted to pitch video concept, say a short film for a corporate, they'll expect you to do market research, a SWOT analysis, who are the competitors in the market, what it is that they've done. So you're not only just creating the video pitch, you're also sort of like doing marketing for them as well. So for me, I don't think there's really a choice. Like I had to already have those structures working in place. Otherwise, then the client will look at you and think you don't look like you're a serious individual, you had to have your elevator pitch. You had to have your I wouldn't call it really like a sales plan, more like a return on investment. How many views do you think they're going to get and all that? So as the business has grown, I feel like it's become second nature that I'm able to do those things easily. Like I don't have to think about it as much as I used to have to think about it before. So it's
now like
yeah,
coming together. It's like almost an automated thing.
Yeah, it's become automated. Actually, that's the
I
best
love
word for it.
that.
It's become automated. Yeah.
I love that because personally I had plans, but those plans, but then at some point I just started operating on default, and I feel that has made me extremely highly disorganized for a long time. Then now I've started now planning again, and I realize it's good, but I'm open because even Dream Tribe, how it's turned out into a community, it also started as an events company. Then I was like Samuel, I did catering. Then after catering, I now decided I need to find markets, and through markets, now it became the community. So I totally understand when you're talking about being open to the change of the process, because also I know entrepreneurs hold on to the dream, and sometimes the dream is not working, and it can be very, very frustrating. But I like what Naomi is saying. Wow, this is a great one. I should really try out. I've been stuck because of lack of money, and I'm thinking I should first get money so that I can actually carry out my plan. Yes, Naomi, just carry out your plan. I think me and Samuel have shown you we started out without not much capital, just ideas, and we've been able to work with people and resources and push forward. Moses, when he said, I used other people's money, I know you get that. And thanks for that light moment. And then is talent something a new entrepreneur can venture into? So I'll have Samuel answer that shortly because you're in the talent space. And then Mercy says, Santa and Sam, thank you for your willingness to share your entrepreneurship experiences. Just wanted to know, after how many project tries did you finally get to a position where your business was now profitable and doing well? So I think that also Samuel can answer because you've had series of different businesses. I'm thinking you even sold, yeah, you've had a number of businesses. So I think that is for you. And then, or else help me list those few ventures that do not require a lot of money. So I'm thinking, Santa, you can answer that. Businesses that, do not require capital. And Dennis says he feels that Sam is an introvert. And then Stanley, you seem extrovert actually from my observation. That is still to you, Sam. And then Moses says business development, some analogies are lit. Okay, so guys, I think there are no more questions. The last question is, Sam made a statement at the beginning regarding on the positive actions and steps towards the business he said he will talk about later in details. So as we are winding up, because we have like 4 minutes, let everyone take their questions, and then as we prepare to depart.
Okay, so very quickly, I hope I can respond to this in the short time that we have. Disclaimer, I don't even remember what I said when we were starting, so I might not really say much about that, but if I remember something, I will. Talent is big business. When you think talent, think sports, and you'll see Michael Jordan, you'll see Cristiano Ronaldo, you'll see Serena Williams. Think film, and you'll see Denzel Washington. You will think there are so many people. Think music. You will think Diamond. You will think who's big now in Nigeria? I don't even know anymore. But yeah, very many big people. All of that is talent. What you need to do is ask yourself, how do I tap into the value chain that is around my talent? Yeah. That is where you do it well as an entrepreneur. I will tell you that Jay-Z is not the most talented rapper, but his net worth is now, if it's not yet already $1 billion, it's very fast approaching $1 billion. Why? Because he learned to tap into the value chain that was around his talent. And in fact, you realize a lot of the people who are doing very well with their talent, it's not because they were the best in their fields. Strictly, as far as talent is concerned, they were not the best, but they learned the business side of their talent. What you need to do is learn the business side of your talent and ask yourself, so how do I leverage on this talent?
On your talent, yeah.
Yes, to open up all these other possibilities. And that is something I talk a lot about at Optimize Institute.
Is it me?
I think his internet has dropped slightly. Yeah.
I thought it was me. Okay, fine. I actually wanted, I really liked a point that he said there about talent, seeing your talent as a business. And I think this also applies to the job market. You see yourself as a career person, as a business, having a website and showing your achievements and the things that you're doing. I think that also really goes a long way. I don't know what you think, Santa, but I think I'd like you to answer the questions that you had, so that yeah.
I don't know what I pressed.
Oh.
looks like I got.
Are you back? Because we can't even see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry for that. So I was saying at some point I even attempted to do something to do with delivery, and
it's dropped again.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Should I just continue?
Yes, I think you should. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question that was asked. How long did it take for your business to become profitable or doing well? I'll be honest, because I think people enjoy lying a lot. Mine took about 5 years, and I'm not gonna lie. And profitable, meaning that you're able to pay yourself, and then now you start pumping money back into it. So you're buying new equipment and you still have extra money on the side. You're investing in softwares and all of those things. And you're not just, the business, you pay everyone and then you go to zero. I'd say about 5 years. I don't believe in lying. And then I think there's a question that was asked about what are the easiest businesses to start with zero money. I think the best place to start from is yourself, because you're your best asset. So what can you do without money necessarily? One thing that people enjoy doing is tutoring. If you're good at math and you're capable of doing it, you can become a tutor. If you can be able to write a book or create an online course, you've created one. If you are good at talking and you have your phone, you can get on YouTube and start talking. It should always be something that's accessible to you and something that you can do easily without sweating or feeling like it's taking too much energy from you. I know a lot of suggestions are made about how to get into it. I think that's something that you can decide for yourself how you want to do it. However, look at yourself as the asset, look at yourself as the talent, the way Sam was talking, and see how you can build that. If you enjoy public speaking, you can become an MC. It sounds like something that's really out of the box, but if you enjoy it and it's easy for you and it's something that you can keep people engaged, see how you can get MC opportunities. Yeah.
Love that. And I think what we discovered even along the way as entrepreneurs or people who started business is you become multi-talented, and that's why sometimes you can even look at an entrepreneur and you're like, what do they exactly do? Because you're open to as many opportunities. You'll probably, in the earlier stages before your business becomes profitable, you'll probably be writing, you'll probably be, what she's talking about, what are your natural innate talents that can help you ensure that you survive even as the business is growing. And so the other conversation that would have been extremely important is multiple streams of income as opposed to one stream where you're just waiting on one direction. So that's one thing that I've really learned as to surviving in the space of entrepreneurship. So thank you guys. I know it's now 8:33. You've given us 3 minutes of your time. And maybe you can comment on the chat what you have learned or how this experience has been for you. As we keep having these conversations on entrepreneurship, not just here, but also on the Baobab platform. So if you haven't joined the Baobab platform, please come on board and join and follow up this conversation and contribute. And next time you can actually even join us here as a panelist. And so before we close, I would love you, Santa, to answer one last question. What would you tell yourself, your younger entrepreneur when you were starting? And what would you do differently now that you know better? Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I wanted to be the Steve Jobs of the world, And for me, I think there's this big gap in between, like there's like a rift valley in between what they were able to achieve and what we are able to achieve. When you look at people like Steve Jobs, he wasn't squatting at a polytechnic, he was squatting at an Ivy League school. His friends were people whose dads could become investors and all those things. And so we're living in a world where the capabilities are presented to us as something that you can be able to achieve. But the reality is that it's going to be hard for you to do it because you do not have those opportunities. If you look at someone like Elon Musk's family owns a diamond mine. I don't think a lot of people know that. And so they look at him and they say, he's become such a billionaire and he's such an amazing human being. I'm like, yeah, but they had, some money. And so it's how do we redefine entrepreneurship for ourselves as Africans in an African context, in matters that make sense, not matters that make sense for, unfortunately to say so, foreigners or white people, or, And it's realizing that even the environment that we're in terms of business, is very, very different from the environment that they're at. Our access to capital isn't the same, you know. How much energy you have to put into networking is very, very different. So by me thinking about that, I'd look at my younger self and be like, you know what, relax, be easy. You're doing great. You're not where you want to be, of course, but you're eventually getting to whatever it is that you want to go to. And yeah.
I love that. And you know why I love that is where you, because I think another side of entrepreneurship that is not talked about is the intense pressure and the extreme. We do have a lot of entrepreneurs who are even depressed because it's not working out, because you're looking at Steve Jobs and you're looking at Zuckerberg and you're seeing them and you're seeing they're doing exceptionally well. And then you look at yourself back here, it may be in Africa or you're in diaspora and wondering why isn't your business peaking in the same pace, and you're feeling very frustrated. So what Santa is really talking about is cutting yourself some slack and being patient with yourself, being patient with your journey. As someone has asked, how long did it take to break even? It could take 5 years, or it could take 1 year, or it could take 6 months, but your journey is your journey, and just being patient with whatever your journey is. And I think that's the most amazing thing about that journey, because someone said success is inevitable if you remain consistent, if you remain resilient. The only time you actually fail is when you quit, is when you really stop. And so thank you so much for those very profound words, Santa. I think it encourages us, especially many entrepreneurs who give ourselves so much pressure and we think, oh, I'm not doing so well. So that really, really does well for us. So thank you so much, everyone, as you share your comments. I'm really happy that you made it and you took time to be with us. In case you really want to say something, we can actually unmute you and you say something even as we go. Yeah. And Santa has shared her work on the chat, so you can follow her there. Sam is saying his network has failed, but he's trying to get back on. So
there are no more questions. I thought guys would be dying on the inside. There are no waving hands.
Yeah. So actually, if you raise your hand, Angie is going to unmute you, and then you can just go ahead and speak. And saying thank you so much. Thank you so much. And can't wait for more conversations. Thank you, Joyce. I know you two are a serial, amazing, powerful entrepreneur. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you. Nice work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Benson, this has been an insightful session. I'm delighted to have been part of the audience. So happy you joined us, Benson. And thank you so much for the great support on the Baobab platform. Thank you. Great presentation, Mudhoni. Oh, yes. Someone has a question? Yes.
I don't actually have a question. I just want to say amazing, amazing, amazing. Good to see the both of you. You guys are killing it. You guys are awesome. It was an amazing meeting. It's really looking forward to seeing more of these. Really looking forward to participating in a lot more of these. And just keep staying awesome. You guys are kicking ass. It's nice. It's really, really nice. Right? And you know what I mean when I say it's really nice, because you both know. And it's just mad energy. I love it. I love it.
Thank you awesome so much.
Cheers, spending time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We should catch up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vani Kasaji. Thank you so much. And again, you can unmute, you can say something, you can put that on the chat. It's all yours. But thank you once again for making time to be here and to join us. And do share your stories. We are happy. You can chat us up. I think we can leave our details here. So in case you have any more questions, you can reach us and follow our work on Baobab here. You and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.